सुन्दरी श्रीमाता महेश्वरी देवी त्रिपुर सुन्दरी माता महेश्वरी देवी त्रिपुर सुन्दरी
शङ्करी परमेश्वरी श्री गौरी दयाकरी शङ्करी परमेश्वरी श्री गौरी दयाकरी श्री कृष्ण सहोदरी देवी चामुण्डेश्वरी परमेश्वरी श्री गौरी दयाकरी श्री कृष्ण सहोदरी देवी चामुण्डेश्वरी जय जय जगदीश्वरी भक्त जन रक्षंकरी जय जय जगदीश्वरी भक्त जन रक्षंकरी जय जय करुणाकरी जय अखिलांडेश्वरी जय जय करुणाकरी जय अखिलांडेश्वरी
माता महेश्वरी देवी त्रिपुर सुन्दरी
कामरूपिणी हंसिनी मलयाचलवासिनी चिदानन्द स्वरूपिणी कात्यायनी कामिनी
माता जयदायिनि मा भवसागर भयहारिणि मा शान्ति सौख्य चिरदायिनि मा कान्तिवराभयदायिनि मा जगज्जननि जयदायिनि मा भवसागर भयहारिणि मा शान्ति सौख्य चिरदायिनि मा कान्तिवराभयदायिनि मा जगज्जननि जयदायिनि मा जगज्जननि जयदायिनि मा सर्वसौभाग्यप्रसादिनि मा सर्वजगत्रय
Hari Om. Happy Navratri once again to all. Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. In these last 3 days of Navaratri, we celebrate Maha Saraswati Devi. After having removed all negativities from within, having cultivated all the positive virtues that we can, finally what is required from us is to gain knowledge, is to turn our thoughts to the Supreme, because that, after all, is the goal of human life. It is to recognize our true self. And so we see that in this Navaratri festival, these 9 nights split into 3 indicate to us what the journey of a seeker is. First, to, as Pujya Gurudev puts it, first to introspect so that we can detect negativities. Having detected those negativities, we have to do something about them. And the first thing we do is we negate them. That's not all. We then substitute for something more positive, so that those negativities are sublimated. And finally, with this alert mind, we gain knowledge and we grow. Saraswati ji represents that knowledge, that purity. She represents speech. She is also known as Vani. And it is with her blessings that our mind is filled with knowledge. So before we go any further, we will have an offering, a musical offering from our Swaranjali team to begin with. And then we will see a little bit more about Saraswati ji.
Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Guru Guhajanani Parashivaramani Akhilandeshwariye. Guru Guhajanani Parashivaramani Akhilandeshwariye. 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 Akhilandeshwariye, Amma Akhilandeshwariye, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma, Parama Pavani Trishooladhari Ishwarini, Parama Pavani Trishooladhari Chamundeshwari. Annavanivi Purayuva Amma Annapurneshwari. Annavanivi Purayuva Amma Annapurneshwari. Triloka Janani Triloka Palini Loka Rakshakini. Triloka Janani Triloka Palini Loka Rakshakini. Karakshakini Amma Loka Rakshakini. Lokarakshakini, Amma Lokarakshakini, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Shringeriyalli nagu nagutiruva Sharada Devini. Shringeriyalli nagu nagutiruva Sharada Devini. Japavannariye, Japavannariye, Neenannu ariye. Japavannariye, Japavannariye, Neenannu ariye. Amma endu koodidaga ododi varamma. Amma endu koodidaga ododi varamma. Ododi varamma, Amma ododi varamma. Ododi Varamma, Amma Ododi Varamma, Amma Varamma, Amma Thai Varamma, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Guru Guhajanani Parashivaramani Akhilandeshwariye. Guru Guhajanani Parashivaramani Akhilandeshwariye. Akhilandeshwariye, Amma Akhilandeshwariye. Akhilandeshwariye, Akhilandeshwariye. Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma, Amma Varamma, Namma Thai Varamma. Parama Pavani Trishooladhari Chamundeshwari. Parama Pavani Trishooladhari Chamundeshwari. Annavanivi Purayuva Amma Annapurneshwari. Annavanivi Purayuva Amma Annapurneshwari. Triloka Janani Triloka Pali Loka Rakshakini. त्रिलोकजननी त्रिलोकपालिनी लोकरक्षकिनी 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 अम्मा लोकरक्षकिनी अम्मा बालम्मा ताई बालम्मा अम्मा बालम्मा ताई बालम्मा ಶೃಂಗೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಗು ನಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾರದ ದೇವಿಯೇ ಶೃಂಗೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಗು ನಗುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾರದ ದೇವಿಯೇ ತಪವನ್ನರಿಯೇ ತಪವನ್ನರಿಯೇ ಏನನ್ನು ಅರಿಯೇ ತಪವನ್ನರಿಯೇ ತಪವನ್ನರಿಯೇ ಏನನ್ನು ಅರಿಯೇ ಅಮ್ಮ ಎಂದು ಕೂಗಿದಾಗ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಎಂದು ಕೂಗಿದಾಗ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಓಡೋಡಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
Saraswati ji, whom we will be doing puja to on Sunday, is the one whom we pray to before we begin any endeavor to gain knowledge, to learn anything new, just as we pray to Ganesh ji when we start anything. When we want to learn something, we ask Saraswati ji for her blessings. So to help us see or help us understand who is Saraswati ji, there is a beautiful shloka that we will also be chanting during the puja that tells us and helps us understand. The shloka says, Ya kundendu tushara hara dhavala. The one who is beautiful and who is wearing white like the jasmine flower, like the moon, like the cool snow. And as you can see, she's wearing a beautiful white sari. Ya Shubhra Vastravrata. So that is her white cloth. She herself is as beautiful as the flower, the moon, and the snow. She has in her hand, Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara. Her hands are adorned with the veena, as you can see, and as you saw also in the bhajan. She is holding the veena. And this shloka says she has in her hands Varadanda. Varadanda means this wish-fulfilling staff. Here she also has in her hands the japamala. And this japamala, it represents concentration, it represents focus. Because this is what hopefully result we see when we do japa. Right? This is what we're looking for, that our mind also becomes focused, it becomes concentrated. So she is holding the japamala. She is also holding, I don't know if you can see, but she is holding the Veda, the scriptures in her hands. So Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara, Ya Shveta Padmasana. She is sitting in this white lotus. And the lotus, we know, is a symbol of purity. Right? The lotus remains untouched by its surroundings. It can grow in the muddiest of waters, and yet it itself remains pure, it remains untouched. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that someone who does karma yoga with this attitude is like a lotus leaf untouched by water. Who does karma with the attitude of karma yoga, that person is saved from any kind of negative effects of the karma that they perform. So she is sitting in this white lotus which symbolizes purity. Ya Shveta Padmasana. She is Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Prabhritibhihi Devaihi Sada Vandita. She is forever worshipped. She is forever bowed down to by all the devas, all the devatas, including Brahma, her partner, Achyuta, Lord Vishnu, and Shankara, Lord Shiva. All adore her, all worship her. The shloka ends by saying, Sa Mam Patu Saraswati. May that Saraswati protect me. Who is she? Nishesha Jadyapaha, the one who destroys completely all delusion. And you can see also in this picture, there is a peacock on one side, and Hamsa bird is hidden, but is there. The peacock is the symbol of beauty, but also not just beauty, but pride and arrogance in one's beauty. And so the peacock is present there, but Saraswati Ji is not paying it too much attention. She herself has that beauty, but she is not allowing that pride to creep in. That is the symbolic meaning of that peacock. On the other hand, her vehicle is the swan, the Hamsa. And the Hamsa is said to have this ability to separate milk from water. You may know that when you mix milk and water, you can't tell them apart. Right? It's impossible. The swan bird represents the ability to discriminate, the ability to tell two things which appear very similar apart. This is our Viveka Shakti. It is our ability to see things clearly. And on the basis of this Viveka Shakti, we gain Vairagya, which is very important for all of us as seekers. But we gain that absolute knowledge, or knowledge of the absolute. So Viveka is something which we all are asked to cultivate. And when we do, then knowledge is ours. What kind of Viveka? What kind of Viveka allows us to gain that knowledge which Saraswati Ji embodies? So there are many different types, but ultimately as seekers, to be able to tell the difference between what is permanent and what is impermanent. And even more than that, to be able to tell the difference between what is real and what is false, what is an illusion. When we are able to develop this ability, then we are able to gain that knowledge. Saraswati Ji is also known as Vani, the goddess of speech. And it is through speech, but also language, that we are able to know anything, that we are able to communicate anything. Language is so crucial for us, not only in our spiritual life, to be able to understand what the scriptures are saying, to be able to understand what the Guru says, but in our day-to-day life also, language plays such a powerful role, speech plays such a powerful role. Once one great Mahatma had remarked about Pujya Gurudev. I think the context was that some people were complaining about Gurudev when he first started, that he was speaking in English, etc., etc. So they asked this other Mahatma to say something. And about Gurudev, he said, what can I do or what can I say? Saraswati dances on his tongue. We may ask, right, that how can we recognize Devi in our life? We recognize Durga Mata as that strength by which we are able to conquer our negativities. We recognize Lakshmi Ji as the positive presence of goodness within us and within others, not only us, although we tend to start with ourselves. But in the wealth that we see, how do we recognize Saraswati Ji? When do we know that she is there, that she is present? We recognize her in this way, in the expression of great people, in the eloquence. Not only eloquence, but in true knowledge. And true knowledge that ultimately results in love for all. How do we know that we have gained knowledge? How do we know that we have understood what the scriptures are trying to tell us? When the expression is of unconditional love, then we know that we have understood. In the Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas Ji says that for devotees of Bhagwan, Saraswati Ji dances in the courtyard of their heart. And we see in our Pujya Guruji also that great love and the expression of all of that knowledge in all his compositions, both of bhajans but also of all the Vedantic compositions. The expression of that knowledge flows through them. Not only the knowledge and the eloquence, but that love that is clear for everyone to see. So we ask Saraswati Ji to bless us with discrimination, to see the world clearly, to gain knowledge, so that we are able to express love for all. We will conclude this evening with, again, some devotional offering.
में ज्योतिर्मय उतरो, मेरे मन के अंध तमस में ज्योतिर्मय उतरो। मुझ में सुंदर काजल सा काला ये अंतर, नहीं कहीं कुछ मुझ में सुंदर, काजल सा काला ये अंतर, प्राणों गहवर में ममतामयी बिहरो, मेरे मन के अंध तमस में ज्योतिर्मय उतरो, मेरे मन के अंध तमस में
So tomorrow evening, once again, we will have satsang, and on Sunday, we will have Saraswati puja. Please do join in if you can. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.